Hey, what's up guys? Legal Bro here. Today we're looking at Flo Rida's video and his Celsius lawsuit, but more specifically, Flo Rida's testimony. Let's get into it.
Good afternoon, my name is Tramar Dillard. First name spelled T-R-A-M-A-R, last name spelled D-I-L-L-A-R-D.
Thank you. You heard during the trial here, we've been talking about you being professionally known. Can you explain what that means?
Yes, I'm an artist, international artist. I've sold over 100 million records worldwide. I have a Diamond Award, which a lot of artists don't have. I'm fortunate to have. I'm a guy who loves fitness, so I'm well known for my fitness around the world since day one of my career. I've done the likes of WrestleMania. I've performed at events for Super Bowl. I've done the NBA. I've done the NFL. Done things with Gold's Gym, and I perform around the world internationally.
All right, so we all know who Flo Rida is. We know his songs, catchy as hell, great music. But what is the whole purpose of him talking about and laying the foundation for what he does? His entire case is about how Celsius stiffed him on a bunch of royalties, right? He was supposed to get these bonus payments, these incentives, these royalties when he builds the brand. Well, how do you set all that up? You talk about who he is. And we can't assume that everybody on the jury knows who he is. Let's be real. They probably know who he is. But they're going to go forward and they're going to hear testimony from him. So part of the way that he builds into that testimony is by saying, look, I'm an international artist. I'm an international sensation. I have advertised and marketed Gold's Gym. I've been at the Super Bowl. I do all of these great things for the music industry, and I build and hype up all of these brands, which is why I'm worth so much. You understand where this is going.
And with all that performance, are you a little bit nervous here today?
I mean, yes, this is different than me being on stage.
I bet. And all of those performances, you were known as Flo Rida, is that
Yes.
correct? I'm going to do my best to call you Mr. Dillard, but I might, a couple of times call you Flo, right?
That's cool.
All right, so how long have you been in the music business?
I've been in the music business 16 years now.
Where are you from?
I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm from Carol City.
Did you go to high school there?
Yes, I went to Miami, Carol City Senior High School.
And what is Strong Arm Productions USA, Inc.?
Strong Arm Productions USA, Inc. is my management company.
And does that operate out of Miami as well?
Yes, it operates out of Miami.
What does that company do for you?
The company controls my day-to-day management.
And do you also represent other artists and work with other artists in conjunction with your music?
Yes, I've worked with a lot of artists.
And have you, in your experience by working with other artists, propelled them into fame and success in the music business?
Yes, I have. The likes of, I worked with Lady Gaga, like one of her first records. I worked with David Guetta on one of his first records. I worked with Kesha on one of her first records, and all of those artists have been successful with my likeness, being a part of their very first records.
Ugh. David Guetta, Lady Gaga, and Kesha? Are you kidding me? Flo Rida coming out the gate showing that he is an absolute brand maker. If he could make all of them successful, which, let's face it, all of them are wildly successful, you think he could help out little Celsius? I'm thinking so.
And according to the official Billboard charts, we all heard of Billboard, you've had a number of top 10 hits, right?
Yes, I had multiple top 10 hits. One of the records in particular was Low, which made history. It was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most selling records, as well as Right Round, which is a record featuring Kesha, where it made the Guinness Book of World Records while selling the most singles in the first week ever.
You ever seen the movie The Hangover? That is the greatest song ever from that movie.
And that was all before 2014, right?
Yes, prior to 2014.
And after 2014, you also had a song known as My House, right?
Yes, a record.
Tell me about My House.
Oh yeah, My House was a record that I recorded, and that record right there was a global phenomenon. It was used in Super Bowl commercial, as well as that's one of the songs that I actually promoted the product that I love, which is Celsius, and the product, in the video. That record right there made history as well.
Let's play a quick clip.
We've now got the foundation laid for what Flo Rida is here to argue to the jury. He created Celsius's brand around one of his best hits in 2014. This contract and deal and the royalties and incentives that everybody's arguing over are from that 2014 contract. It looks like we're about to see some evidence related to that.
Clip of that. I think we got like an 8-second, 10-second clip. Is that my house?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'll sing. I could perform better than I can talk.
All right, and then you also mentioned low. Can you go ahead and just put a 10, 15-second clip of that, whatever you have there?
Unfortunately, it looks like they've censored it for us, but that song goes a little something like this. Welcome to my house, baby. Something, slow down, baby. We can slow down. You don't even have to know the words, because you know what I'm talking about.
And it had a bit of nostalgia in it, so I'm pretty sure just about everybody will know this record.
Okay, let's hear a couple of seconds of that.
Flo Rida bobbing and weaving on the stand. You would never see that in a jury trial, folks. This must have been electric.
And then I understand in 2015, you have Good Feeling.
Yes.
Is that something was that already out before your arrangement with Celsius, or was that afterwards?
I think it might have been before.
Okay, let's hear a couple of seconds of that one.
All right, you get the hint. Flo Rida is obviously a hit artist, and Celsius should have been lucky to have him.
Let's move on to some other things. I think we talked a little bit about your success as a musician. Why did you decide to branch out into an endorsement or a branding type opportunity?
As far as taking advantage of a branding opportunity, I was inspired, by one of the great hip hop artists, 50 Cent. I seen what he had done with, if you guys are familiar with vitamin water. So I thought it would be something that, also would help me catapult into broaden my horizons by taking advantage of endorsing a product. 50 Cent was fit, I'm fit, and, in approaching anything that represent my lifestyle, which is health. I truly believe that health is wealth, and health has purpose. I thought I would, want to do some endorsing, but it would have to fall between the lines of something that represented me, my lifestyle, and what I believed in.
Flo Rida, credible, humble, nice guy, great witness. You hear him break down his thought. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily signing up for Celsius because I was going to get paid all this money, right? Why did he sign up? He believes in fitness, he believes in the brand, he believes in the product, and he's trying to emulate someone that he admires. Who's that? 50 Cent and vitamin water.
Curtis Jackson again. You guys know, without a doubt, I promote vitamin water the best. Vitamin water! None of those other guys would do that. That wasn't part of the skit.
Are like peas and carrots, right? You just associate 50 with that brand. You think about how 50 Cent is fit, right? 50 Cent, fit, vitamin water, great brand. Flo Rida was onto something. Flo Rida, fit, Celsius, the next big thing. There's only one problem with that. Celsius and vitamin water, two completely different companies. And obviously Celsius didn't hold up their end of the bargain, my opinion. But obviously the jury agrees with me.
And was what you had in mind similar to what 50 Cent did, which was have an equity, a long-term stake in the success of an overall product?
Most definitely. I seen that 50, he had equity, royalties, and things of that nature. And I wanted to maximize my career as well.
What do you mean by equity?
Ongoing revenue, something that was generational wealth.
Smart for the attorney to start breaking down some of the things that maybe society doesn't all know about, right? Royalties, equity, some of these business terms that maybe members of the jury have not heard before. And remember, jurors read on a third grade reading level. There are all these statistics out there about, 1 in 10 jurors has a disability, right? Mental disability that you can't see or tell. So it's really important when you have a witness on the stand and you're trying to explain things, equity is the example here, that you try to break it down into bite-sized pieces that everybody can understand.
That would include stock shares, for example?
as well as stock shares.
How did you get introduced to the Celsius product?
I got introduced to the Celsius product. I was out in LA doing a fitness video. A guy that I've done a couple other deals with alongside of one of my day-to-day guys were telling me about this product called Celsius and that it was an energy drink. And while I'm out there in LA, they came out there and this might have lasted over a week. They told me like prior to me being out there, but it had been like a week. They were telling me, you need to try this. You need to try this. But I was so focused on completing this fitness DVD, and I was just happy with the results that I was getting by training hard every day. And on the last day of me training, they brought the product in the gym. I tasted it, and I was like, I think I could do something with this. Because as I said before, like a lot of things that I touched for the first time and that I was passionate about, I made very successful. And in taking on this product, once again, reflecting off of what 50 Cent did with vitamin water, I wanted something that was parallel to my lifestyle. And I envisioned that this product Celsius could be phenomenal as myself. That's basically why I took on this product.
Who did you meet with from Celsius to try to work on a deal?
I met with D3M.
And did you meet with someone from actually Celsius, the company?
Yes, Jerry David.
And who was Jerry David?
Jerry David, very likable gentleman. He seemed like he definitely represented family because, me and him would have talks about, Christianity, and that was one big thing in me wanting to work with him because, he seemed very trustworthy.
That's going to be important, folks, right? Little tiny details like that you're like, who gives a flying hoot about that? Flo Rida is saying, look, we shared something on an even deeper level, right? We both believed in Christianity. Now, some of you are sitting here and you're like, this is a case about royalties. Who cares about their conversation about Christianity? And you know what? If they started down that path, I'm sure you'd hear an objection. But Flo Rida is connecting with the jury when he does this, right? Fitness, Christianity, branding, pop culture. He's talking about emulating one of his idols, right? Obviously, he's a business owner, he's an artist, ticking off all of these boxes. So if you're a member of this jury, you're not all going to be into, you might only have certain jurors that are into music, but you might have others that are deeply religious. You might have a small business owner. He is right now casting the perfect net to capture everybody that he needs to get on his team when they go back into that room and decide and ultimately decide whether or not to rule in favor of Flo Rida or Celsius.
Was he kind of the top dog at the company?
Yeah, the CEO of the company.
And did the deal that was proposed by you have both what you were looking for, the upfront money, as well as long-term shares and equity in the growth of the company?
Yes, this deal represented generational wealth. The fact that it had equity, that it had stock, that it had royalties, and that it had upfront money that would show, that they were interested in working with me.
Why was it important to you to have a long-term equity position in the company as well, and the potential to even increase that as the deal ultimately worked out?
Oh, because at this point I was very smart in understanding business from a point I missed out on the deal that I wanted that was with Uber. Early on they had offered me like rides and different things like that, and I'm a guy who has a lot of flashy cars, so I didn't really pay attention to it, not knowing that since it was they were early in the game, I could have spoke to them about having some equity and seeing the results of the success they have today. At the point where I got a chance to do a deal with Celsius, I was like, I'm going to need some equity. I'm going to need some royalties. I'm going to need some stock in them.
Why is this testimony important, folks? Flo Rida is making this statement because he's showing, look at what I gave up. I could have had this great deal with Uber, or what would have been a great deal, we'll never know. But instead, I believed in the CEO and what he was pitching and his brand, and that he was a family man and that he was Christian just like me, right? Think about all of the things that he is doing to sort of flush out some of these issues, right? When the jury is going through their verdict form, right? Think about all of the things that Flo Rida is able to check off right now, right? He's given up all of these other opportunities. He's talking about how he relied on all of these things that he was expecting from bonus compensation, upfront money, royalties, equity, right? He's got this idea that he's building generational wealth, and he knows the amount of time that takes. Very, very strong testimony.
I'm going to need some upfront money to secure, my future.
So all those aspects were important in which you intended to be part of the deal going forward.
Yes.
And you had also concluded, well, let me ask you, why was Celsius a good match for your lifestyle, your brand, your routines?
Celsius was a good match for my brand because of the fact that it represented a healthy lifestyle. Myself, I'm a guy who loves fitness. Like I said before, I believe that health is wealth. It's very important. You can't obtain certain things if you don't have your health. So I thought it would be a perfect match for myself.
So after the 2014 agreement was in place, what did you do to start promoting to brand Celsius?
As far as branding Celsius, I basically took it to every one of my shows. I took it to just about, I went to Miami Heat games where I would pull up in my Hummer and I would give out Celsius to, people either going to the game or leaving the game. I took this out the country with me. As far as traveling, I made sure that my community, I have a youth football league with over 10,000 kids. So I exposed this to family and friends and basically, brought my community into this.
Let's pull up the
So he's now talking about how this is not just about, a famous person being in a 30-second ad, right? Think about like a Tom Brady Rolex commercial or something. What is this about? This is about Flo Rida getting out of his car at a Miami Heat game, throwing out free samples. He's got a 10,000 kid youth football league. He's giving out all these free samples. Think about the grassroots effort that he's making for Celsius when he does this. Think about now what Celsius is going to be able to say when they try to stiff him out of what he did for him. Not good.
PL 49, which is already in evidence. And you also announced to the world that you had joined the Celsius team, right? In this, by virtue of this Instagram.
Yes.
And tell me about your social media following. So your Instagram, Facebook, at that time Twitter was pretty popular too. Tell me about what kind of following you have.
Oh, major following. From Twitter with 5 million followers, over Facebook 16 million followers, etc. And I knew that with me using my likeness to promote Celsius, I knew this would be perfect in a way of branding.
So I just looked because I had to verify. Celsius has like 500 and some odd thousand followers on Instagram. So obviously Flo Rida is carrying the water for them, or was.
Real quick, I just wanted to say that Attorney Tom / Attorney Reacts content is now on Spotify. We just launched a partnered show, link in the description. Go check it out. Now, back to the video.
Oh, just like, with me approaching my record, doing my very first record deal, I signed to an independent label by the name of Po' Boy Records prior to me being distributed by Atlantic Records. And one thing about it, when you call someone team, for me it represents family.
Okay, let's look at Exhibit 220, PL 223. Do you recognize this tweet?
Yes, this is Russell Simmons and Kamora Lee. Yeah, this is Russell Simmons and Kamora Lee Simmons, and this is congratulating Russell Simmons on joining the Celsius family. I initially met Russell, as you heard earlier, at a Revolt conference, and aside from that, I had a big yacht across the street from the hotel, and the likes of Russell Simmons was there, as well as one of the guys from Pepsi were on the boat. And initially, the first words that Russell said to me, I thought I was going to hear him say something about music, him being a guy that was one of the biggest guys, moguls in music, to the point where he's helped start hip-hop with so many different people. And
hang on. Hang on a second. Any response?
I literally just was asking about this, but I think he's talking about what Russell Simmons and him discussed.
Right. And on that yacht...
Hang on. Sustain the objection unless...
Okay.
Is this for...
Ask it a different way.
Okay.
Okay. So you had this...
Okay, so you understand what's going on. I love how Flo Rida's like, yeah, I hang out on yachts and have fancy cars, and I'm the man, because he is. But he's talking about here something that is an outside conversation, right? An out-of-court statement, and you hear objection from Celsius's counsel, and the judge sustains it. So Flo Rida's counsel says, let me ask it in a different way. I think what they're getting at here is all of the people that Flo Rida brought into the Celsius family.
Yacht party, we're going to continue to talk about that. Did you discuss with just the general topic of Celsius with Russell Simmons?
Yes, he initially said.
Not yet. What did you say to Russell Simmons?
I said nothing to Russell. The first thing Russell said to me was,
Right. That's that out-of-court statement I was talking about. Russell told me X. Before he can even say objection, hearsay. Let's see how the court and Flo Rida's counsel respond.
Unfortunately, because Russell's not here, we can't put that in, but I can put in what you said to Russell. What did you discuss with him? Did you discuss Celsius?
oh yes, I discussed Celsius with Russell.
What did you talk about with Russell, about Celsius?
I talked to him about it being a product that represented my lifestyle and both of our lifestyles, which was healthy.
And why did you welcome him to the family in this tweet a few months later?
Oh, I welcomed him to the family because they actually, he got Kamora's husband to put money into the company.
And who's Kimora again?
That's his ex-wife.
And do you know whether or not Mr. Russell put money into the company?
From my knowledge, his Kamora's husband put money into the company.
So you understand that, folks? As soon as Flo Rida starts talking about things that Russell said, nope, can't have it, keep it out, doesn't fit into one of the exceptions to hearsay, right? But what do we have? We have Flo Rida telling us what he said to Russell. That's okay. What they're getting at here is that Flo Rida was talking to these individuals that ended up putting money into Celsius. It sounds like Russell's ex-wife's new husband, if I follow that correctly, might have been an investor into Celsius. But what they're getting at is that Flo Rida was very integral in that whole process.
I never agreed.
Okay, let's talk to him about royalties for a couple of minutes. What were you accustomed to in the music business with respect to the length of time that royalties would run?
Oh, that royalties were ongoing, they were never ending.
And what was your expectation when you entered into the agreement with Celsius with respect to royalties?
With respect to royalties, this would be, never ending and ongoing royalties.
Is that also what you intended?
Yes.
What happened to your music integrations in your videos that you put in My House and Ola and Greenlight? What happened to those integrations now? What's the current state of them?
You can go on social media, go to the internet, and you'll see, these products still exist in my videos, and they're playing continues. They're going to be playing forever.
Are you aware of a...
You got that, folks? Celsius is going to be in the background of Flo Rida's videos until Kingdom Come. That's right. For the next 100 years or however long YouTube exists, Flo Rida will have Celsius in his videos, and that brand will be flourishing with people that love Flo Rida, and it will be front and center in their brain all day long, every time they watch his video. He should be paid a royalty for that if that's what he agreed upon. It sounds like that was his intention. He thought that he was going to get a royalty for life the same way that the music industry hands them out.
Lasting impact for Celsius as Flo's drink?
Most definitely, as well as, there's other big names such as Doja Cat, who calls Celsius Flo's drink. They depict it as Flo's drink in particular.
Has your influence as...
Wow. Doja Cat saying that Flo Rida's drink is Celsius, the same way you heard Flo Rida say that vitamin water is 50's drink. Wow. Great brand recognition.
On the Celsius brand, been recognized by Celsius board members publicly.
Yes.
Do you know a shark by the name of Kevin Harrington?
Yeah, Kevin Harrington. He actually is one of the guys who talked heavily about me coming in and using my likeness to help Celsius.
Right. Is this a board member for Celsius?
Yes, it is.
Objections overruled.
Yeah, Kevin Harrington is a guy who definitely
All right, so you barely heard it. I think it was a hearsay objection. Judge clarified, is this a board member from Celsius that is making this out-of-court statement that Flo Rida is talking about? It was, so the judge said overruled and let it in.
Talks about me coming in and using my likeness to help promote Celsius.
Let's shift topics a little bit here. During the contracts, from time to time you would speak to Jerry David, right?
Yes.
What did Jerry David tell you about how the Flow Fusion sales were going?
Oh yeah, that they weren't doing well.
Were you ever provided any data or reports or actual statistics about sales or revenues of Celsius products?
I never was given any data, anything.
Don't you love that, folks? Hey, Flo Rida, your drink sucks. It is tanking. Our numbers are terrible. Okay, but you never showed me any of them. But don't worry, Flo Rida, you can trust us. We are telling you the truth.
Why didn't you ask for any paperwork from Jerry David or from Celsius?
I never asked for any paperwork from Jerry David because I trusted him like family.
Looking back on it now, do you feel misled?
I definitely feel misled
Why?
because I trusted him like family, and just speaking with him, he seemed like a guy that had my best interests.
And what have you learned now that makes you believe that what you were told then wasn't accurate?
The fact that now, as far as my royalties and things of that nature are not being recognized at this point.
Okay, and let's shift.
That is absolutely heartbreaking testimony from Flo Rida, because he's talking about the fact that he actually did rely on the fact that what they were telling him he thought was true. Whatever Flo Rida was promoting, the numbers were down. Flo Rida never actually requested to see the numbers because he thought of Celsius as his family. Why would anybody work over their family or pull the wool over somebody's eyes or do anything to hurt their family? Pretty devastating when you think about it, because they took advantage of his kindness. Thankfully, Flo Rida served up a little bit of justice and got the job done. Celsius, you're welcome.
Topics again, because I'm getting close to my end here. You received stock at the beginning of the contract in 2014 up front, right?
Yes.
And then in 2016 you also received some stock, right?
Yes.
And when did you first sell any of your stock?
Well, the first time I sold any of my stock, it was during the pandemic.
Between 2014 and when you sold it during the pandemic in 2020?
No.
And you still hold Celsius shares now, don't you?
Yes.
All right, so this contract entitles you to a payday. Did you get your payday?
I did not get my payday.
So why did you file this lawsuit?
I filed this lawsuit because of the fact that, I did everything as far as doing my part, and, with all due respect, the parties that be, I trusted them and they did not do their part, and that's why I'm here today.
I love those questions that plaintiff lawyers ask their client, right? Plaintiff lawyer, the person that represents people, most of the time. Sometimes it's a business, whatever. And in most cases, it's usually an individual versus a group or a corporation or whatnot. She asked a simple question. Did you get paid? No. Why did you file the lawsuit? I filed it because I held up my end of the bargain and they didn't uphold theirs. I mean, does it get any more straightforward than that, folks? That's what he's got to prove all these things. You can make it as complicated as you want with experts and legal opinions and all this legal jargon and nonsense. And frankly, it's just stuffing legal jargon down jurors' throats. But at the end of the day, what does it mean? It means, look, I did this and they didn't do this. I promised I'd do this and I did it. They promised they'd do this and they sold me out. Pretty straightforward. I like Flo Rida as a witness, one of the better ones that I've seen.
Judge, you spoke about the 2014 agreement, correct?
Yes.
You didn't sign the 2014 agreement, did you?
No.
Mr. Reggie Mathis signed it on your behalf?
Yes.
And you also spoke about the 2016 agreement, correct?
Yes.
You also did not sign that agreement?
I think I had power attorney through Reggie.
So Reggie Mathis signed
Yes.
on your behalf, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Isn't it true that Celsius paid you a $100,000 endorsement fee under the 2014 agreement?
Yes, I think so.
And isn't it true that Celsius paid you $200,000 in guaranteed royalties under that agreement?
I'm not sure.
Is there anything that might refresh your recollection?
Not really, because of the fact that, Reggie Mathis would actually look over the contract.
Okay. Do you remember giving testimony under oath in this case by answers to interrogatory dated August 11, 2022?
Possibly.
1 second.
Gotta love that. Do you remember this interrogatory from blah, blah, blah? It's like the most classic thing you see at a deposition. And the client's like, interrogatory? What in God's name? Interrogatory? And you're like, hey, do you remember seeing this thing that I put in front of you and asked you about, at length? And they're like, oh yeah, I talked to you about that agreement. And you're like, yeah, that's what this is. That's just a clever way for a party to try to beat down, the witness. Hey, tell me, didn't you say under oath this about this interrogatory? And you're like, under oath? Oh, what? Flo Rida, nice composure.
Yes. Thank you.
Actually, you're supposed to ask me that.
Sorry.
You may approach. All right.
So I'll represent to you that these are under the 2016 agreement. Isn't it true that Celsius issued 250,000 restricted shares of common stock as an endorsement fee?
I think so.
And of that 250,000 restricted shares, you received 72.5%. Is that correct?
I don't recall in detail.
Okay. Can you put up the 2016 agreement, please?
All right, super smart here. I'll give some credit to the defense attorney, even though I'm a plaintiff guy. What she's doing is she's having to deal with a witness that's having a lot of memory issues. Now, obviously, if the defense attorney is in possession of evidence that can prove or substantiate what she is asking Flo Rida, instead of going around and around and around and having him say, I don't know, maybe, possibly, potentially, she can just say, okay, well, let's take a look at it, right? And that's what she's going to do to kind of get through this a little bit easier.
Which has already been admitted into evidence. Could you please go to section 5.1? Did you see the document on the screen? This is the 2016 agreement that we've been discussing.
Okay.
And section 5.1 talks about the endorsement fee. Is that right?
Okay.
And subsection B says Flo Rida shall receive 72.5% of the aforementioned shares for a grand total of 181,250 shares upon the signing and execution of this agreement, correct?
Yes, I see that.
Okay, so of the 250,000 restricted shares, you received 72.5%, correct?
That's what it says.
All of the pictures that your attorney put up for you, and I won't go through all of them for time purposes, those were during the time that you were a brand ambassador for Celsius, correct?
Yes.
And you were paid as a brand ambassador for Celsius?
Yes.
And you also talked about if I remember correctly, you testified earlier that your understanding of royalties in your business, the music industry, was that there were ongoing royalties. Is that correct?
Correct.
And those ongoing royalties are for your music, correct?
Yes, but in
So it's music that you
Hold on,
produce?
he hasn't finished. Objections, cutting off the witness.
All right. Let me ask you, were you finished with your answer?
yes.
Okay.
Well, as far as royalties, my impression of royalties, whether it's music or anything, it's ongoing.
So see, that's good. The plaintiff attorney has to jump in there because the defense is just getting every single answer she needs, and it's going like this. And the witness sometimes is going to be sitting here like, wait, did I just say yes to that when I meant to say no? Did I even understand what she asked, right? It's good that that plaintiff attorney jumped in because she did kind of cut him off. It looked like he was going to try to continue, but at minimum, it kind of broke up, a good string of questions there.
So with your music, your impression is that it's ongoing?
Yes. Yes.
And that is for music that you produce or write or you sing, correct?
It's music that I use my likeness.
Is that music that you own?
It's music that I get a percentage of.
Because you own the music?
Yes, as well.
Okay.
Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. It's a good time for a read. We've been going for a little over an hour, so we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll come back and we'll finish up.
Flo Rida with the sick bling in court. Never see that either. I can't even believe how much fun that would have been to be in that courtroom. And by the way, Flo Rida is represented by one of the best trial attorneys in the country, but also down in South Florida, a guy by the name of John Ustel, 2 U's, and he is by far and away got to be one of the best trial lawyers that's ever lived, obviously by the result of the verdict. But there's a very important lesson here, folks, and that is it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're an owner of a company, whether you've got, you know, this great brand deal and more money than God. If somebody owes you money and you have the ability to enforce it, you should, because of the fact that there are bad actors and bad companies out there that don't do what they say they're going to do. They do not hold up their end of the bargain. And it's people like you and people like my class action clients that hold everybody accountable. So proud of Flo Rida for sticking it to the man, baby. Who's the man? The guy that took Shamu out of the ocean and put him in a chlorine tank. If you like this video and you want to see more, we got an absolute lineup of attorneys on Attorney Reacts. Go check out their videos. If you want to see more of me, I'll be over on @TheLegalBro. Catch me on social media, catch me on YouTube, like and subscribe. I'm your class action lawyer, baby. Tell me what you want to hear, man of the people. Legal Bro, love y'all, out.
Big verdict.